You know, sometimes being a Cowboys fan means getting used to disappointment in the offseason. Year after year, we've watched this front office miss opportunities, let key players walk, or settle for second-tier options while teams like the Eagles stack up talent. But this year feels different. And I don't say that lightly. I'm not here to sell you hype. I'm here to tell you that for once, there's a reason to feel thankful, and not just the kind of thankful that fades once the season starts, but a real sense that the Cowboys are finally taking this seriously. From the top down, it looks like there's a shift in how they're approaching the game. Smarter moves, more calculated risks, less noise and more substance. If you've been paying attention, and I know you have, you've seen how this offseason has been built piece by piece. There's no major splash like a blockbuster trade, but there's a steady rhythm to what they're doing. A sense that this team isn't just reacting, it's planning. And when you think about how past off-seasons have gone, this one stands out. It doesn't feel chaotic, it doesn't feel desperate, it actually feels grown up. For once, we're not the team making panic moves in June. We're the ones with a plan, executing quietly, and letting the league wonder what's coming next. That doesn't mean we're done, far from it. But if you're a Cowboys fan, you've got to admit, it's been refreshing to see this level of focus. The moves might not make headlines on, every sports show, but they're building something real here, something sustainable. And that's the kind of offseason that sets the stage for success. So let me ask you this. Do you agree this has been one of the Cowboys' most exciting offseasons in years? Drop a yes or no in the comments because I want to know what you think. And hey, if you love getting these kinds of updates, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're pushing for 14,000 subscribers, and every single one of you helps us grow. Hit that like button too. It lets us know you're riding with us this season. Now look, let's talk about what really has people turning heads this offseason. It's not just the draft picks or the coaching changes, it's how the Cowboys have quietly stacked up moves that actually make sense. You remember past years when we got hyped about signing a 30-year-old linebacker coming off an injury, right? And we convinced ourselves it was a big deal. That's how low the bar used to be. But this time, it's different. The front office didn't chase washed-up names. They went after real depth. Guys who can contribute, who fit the system, and who bring upside without breaking the bank. You're seeing a front office that's not just checking boxes, they're actually building a roster. And let's not forget the draft. I mean, honestly, who expected the Cowboys to pull off a class like that? It might not be full of flashy names, but it's loaded with potential. It feels like, for once, we didn't overthink it. We just picked football players, guys who can step in, compete, and grow into their roles. And when you stack those picks on top of the veteran additions, the picture starts to come into focus. This is a team that's finally learning how to balance star power with depth. A team that isn't just counting on Dak and Micah to save the day every Sunday. There's still room to improve, no doubt. But this is the kind of roster construction that makes you believe they're finally learning from past mistakes. They're building a team for the long haul, not just for a quick one-and-done run. And here's where I want to hear from you. What's been your favorite move this offseason so far? Was it a draft pick, a free agent signing, or just the fact that they're not acting like it's 1995 anymore? Drop it in the comments because I'm reading all of them. And don't forget, if you're rocking with this kind of content, hit that subscribe button and help us get to 14,000. Tap that like if you're feeling the momentum building in Dallas. This might be the year we finally stop just talking about potential and start showing it. But even with all these moves, all this momentum, there's still one massive piece of business the Cowboys haven't finished. And if they don't get it done soon, everything they've built this offseason could start to unravel before the season even begins. You already know who I'm talking about, Micah Parsons. Look, we can't afford to play games with this one, not with a generational talent. Micah isn't just a star on this defense. He is the engine, the tone setter, the guy other teams have to plan around every single week. And right now, the Cowboys are walking a tightrope, because if they wait too long and he decides to sit out or even just scale back in training camp, we're already starting behind. The Eagles are coming week 1. That's not some soft opener. That's a heavyweight fight right out the gate, and you better believe they'll be ready. They've been reloading too. So ask yourself this: can we really afford to go into that matchup without our best player fully locked in, mentally and physically? And I get it. The front office has done a solid job overall. But this is where you earn your money. You don't wait around and hope it all works itself out. You get it done. No distractions, no drama. You give your defensive leader the contract he deserves, and you make sure he's on that field day 1 of camp. You already saw what happened with CeeDee. Lamb. Let's not repeat that with Micah. Because the ripple effect, it's real. You risk losing momentum, you risk injuries stacking up because of holdouts, and worst of all, you risk sending the wrong message to the locker room. That stuff matters. So I'll ask you straight up, should the Cowboys lock in Micah's deal before training camp? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments and tell me how you'd feel if he did miss time. And if you're tired of the front office dragging its feet, help us keep the pressure on. Subscribe to the channel right now and hit that like button. Let's get this message out there loud and clear. Micah Parsons needs to get paid. Period. Now here's where things get really interesting. Because even if the Cowboys finally take care of Micah Parsons, even if they make the smart call and lock him in, there's still more work to be done. We're talking about that final 10%. The kind of moves that can take you from good to great. And for Dallas, that means bringing in another cornerback and a true defensive tackle. It's that simple. Let's be real here. Stephon Gilmore is still out there, and if the Cowboys are serious about winning now, bringing him back just makes too much sense. You saw what he did last year. He wasn't just solid, he was reliable, physical, and brought a level of experience that young corners feed off of. And with Trevon Diggs coming back from injury, wouldn't it feel a whole lot better having a steady vet next to him? And then there's the interior of the defensive line. This group has been soft up the middle for way too long. We've patched it here and there, but we haven't gone all in on a true difference maker. You know what stops the Eagles' run game? A beast at defensive tackle. A guy who can plug the middle and hold his ground when it counts. That's the kind of presence we need to get over the hump. It's not about throwing money at names. It's about finding the right pieces to round out the puzzle. And with June 1st cuts around the corner, you better believe there are going to be options hitting the market. Veterans, proven guys who didn't fit their teams anymore but still have juice left. That's where smart front offices pounce. So here's what I want to know. If you could only sign one more player right now, would you rather see another cornerback or a run-stuffing defensive tackle? Hit the comments and cast your vote. I want to hear how you'd finish the job if you were in the front office. And hey, if you're loving this breakdown, don't forget, we're pushing for 14,000 subscribers. Hit that button, ring the bell, and let's make sure Cowboys Nation keeps this energy going strong all off-season long. So now, looking at everything the Cowboys have done and still need to do, this really could end up being one of the most complete off-seasons we've seen in years. But only if they finish the job. We've praised the moves. The draft was surprisingly solid. The free agency pickups showed strategy. And the team finally looks like it has a clear direction. But all of that only matters if it leads to wins, and it starts with how we show up in Week 1 against the Eagles. That first game, it's a tone setter. The message you send on day 1 tells the league who you are. So if you're Jerry Jones, if you're Stephen Jones, this is where you've got to pull the trigger. Get Micah Parsons paid. Secure that last piece or two on defense. Make sure the locker room is unified, confident, and focused, because the road doesn't get easier after Philly. It only gets tougher. And like Mark Holmes said, come June 1st, there's going to be movement. That's your second window. That's when smart teams make veteran signings that push them over the edge. You don't want to wait and be reactive. You want to be the team that's already prepared, already complete, so that when cuts happen, you can take the best of what's left, not scramble to fill holes. Imagine this: Micah Parsons locked in, Stephon Gilmore re-signed. A Nasty defensive tackle added to the rotation. No holdouts, no last-minute drama, just business handled, and a locker room ready to make a statement from the very first snap. Cowboys Nation, this is the moment where potential turns into pressure. And pressure? That's when real teams show who they are. So let me ask you this. Are you feeling like this could finally be the year? Or are you still waiting for that last move to believe? Jump in the comments and give me your final grade on this Cowboys off-season so far. And don't forget, if you're rocking with the channel, if you want to see Dallas take this thing all the way, hit that like, smash subscribe, and help us hit that 14,000 mark. Every click helps push the message. This fan base is ready. Are the Cowboys?